It's crazy how like the mind works because like it'll tell you to like even when you want to do something, like I always like I want to do the pod, but because it's not like routine still, it's still like something that's new. Because I've done pods before, but never like to this extent where you know um, it's been consistent as far as like output wise and just like overall branding and everything like is everything I wanted it to be. Even to doing it live, like your brain will like convince you like to do something different, like not necessarily do something different, but uh, convince you like, nah, I need to get back in your comfort zone, instead of continue on the path of being uncomfortable while you're like trying something new and doing something that you don't have in your daily routine. It's just crazy how the mind works. Like I literally try to convince myself like I don't need to do it live. Like I can do it, you know. Uh, I can do it just recorded locally like how I do the rest of my videos because like that's when I'm quote unquote at my best. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I can work the most efficient instead of you know doing it live like how I said it and the goals that I had for it, which is like being able to talk to my community and do it live in a live forum, and then also be able to give insight to things behind the scenes and stuff like that. I just think that'll be it's going to be a cool thing to not only look back on, but just to keep track of as we go along on this this journey or whatever. And it's crazy like how you convince yourself of that. And I was like, bro, there's a literal section for us on Twitch. Like this is what it's for. Like I'm saying, stop procrastinating and just get on here and do it. So that's why we here, bro. So let's get right into it, man. Welcome to the Why I'm Geek show. This is episode 4, man. Posted live on Twitch. If you're not following the Twitch stream, make sure you guys go do that so you can know when not only we go live but be a part of the conversation. And it is what it is, bro. Today I don't have like a specific title for anything. That usually comes later on, but this list for today, like things I got on my list and things I want to talk about, it's kind of like it's really like two things in general, and then there's like little side things that's gonna be compensated. But the page of those two main things, it fills up the page pretty much like I'm written all over it, and I'm just super excited to get to talking about it. So let's get it started, man. So like the first thing that I wanted to talk about is inspiration. And for me, I was having like a conversation, well, not necessarily a conversation, but I was having like not necessarily inspiration trouble, but like this last few weeks I've been in like a mode, like a literal content mode, where development on not only the channel, but just in general as like a creative has it's been a high. Like it's really been a high. So everybody hits those moments. Everybody has those moments where anything you touch feels like it's gold. And we also have those moments where it's like you're stuck in between like a hard place and like you just don't know. Nothing you're doing seems like exactly what you want it to be, and it's like hard to move in between those two phases. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, how I get inspiration, what are my like influences, and possibly like something that you all could take from it, like if you ever feel like you're not inspired, or it's not like going to be like a step by step, like boom, this is how you have the big idea, because the whole point of like inspiration for me is that it's never just like I said, like a bit like a boom. Like it's never just like boom, inspiration strikes, now I gotta go in. Like nah, like it's like a whole bunch of little things that lead to one big thing. and then that is whatever I want to create. So, for me, my biggest influence is pretty much like, as far as, on the creative side of things, comes from different music that I'm listening to, comes from like different artists that I follow on IG, or just like in general, looking up different stuff on YouTube, documentary series, even just like, shows in general, like shows like WandaVision, or like shows that make you really like think about it creatively, because I can't never look at something and not try to figure out how they did it. So everything that I look at, I'm not sitting there like dissecting every little thing, but like it's something that's always like, going on in my mind, and will possibly, be shown in my work later on. So I just, those are like a couple things that, I use for not only inspiration, but just like, to influence me. And I try to keep it, not only consistent, but neutral. So like, I don't, try to go too heavy on one thing, and it's all subjective as well. Like, if I really like something, like, I'm obviously going to, continue to view it, but just as much as that one thing, I'm still, trying to find new things and revisiting old things that I've seen before, because I might get a different perspective from it then. So like, that's like, one of the things that, like, because I had a breakthrough recently, and it started with this podcast. And because this podcast not only just like, reevaluated like how I look at content on YouTube, but also everywhere else too. Because what this podcast allows me to do is touch as many different audiences as that I can. This is going to be like my most like far-reaching possible thing that I do, because a podcast is something that you can listen to. It's something that you can look at, and it's something that can basically kind of like not translate, what's the word I'm looking for, it kind of like lives on. I don't know what the best word for that would be, but kind of like how the people say, like, music never dies. Like, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, whatever I say on this pod, can live forever. And you could say that, for any YouTube video that I've made, at least like the ones that are viewable. And you could say like, those are aspects of it too. And not to say like this won't ever, like, I'll never, cut anything out of this podcast. Just because anything could happen, honestly. Like, like somebody could walk through the door and we'll be having a conversation, and I might want to cut that out. Like, but people that, we're here live can actually, be a part of that. So like, that's an incentive, not necessarily for them to hear a conversation that I'm having, but just like those little moments. And like being able to like have that far of a reach, is what kind of like really, I feel like, sparked, this influx of inspiration and just like vision. I think vision is a better word, because once I not only came up with the pod and the name, and because it's something that I've been like pondering for a really long time, like I've said in previous episodes, everything started flowing. So it's like little things here and there. I can't really recall every single thing that happened to, lead me to making this podcast, and for it to look the way it does. But that's where this whole, moment started happening. So from there, we go to starting to revamp, my YouTube channel. And that got me thinking about, the art of YouTube. And that's a thing that, is ever changing, just because nothing is ever, nothing ever stays the same, like pretty much on YouTube. It's forever evolving, just like life. uh, because like there's more and more creators making videos, and um, more people watching videos, and things like that. So it's it's different because it's something that I'm just now really picking up on. Um, because I used to like, I give y'all like a little story. So back in school, in architecture school, um, I was never like the, not necessarily super gifted, but just like super like creative, like visionary for like architecture. Like whenever I did something, it was specific. Everything had a reason. Um, it was not necessarily because it wasn't creative, but I realized like my creativity is is not here. Like this is not where I'm my most like uh, creative in this medium, I should say. So I started realizing when I'll ask my classmates, I'm like, yo, like, how do you even think of this? Like, and they'll tell me what sparked their inspiration, but really, you know, um, it was the way that they thought. Like it was the way that they thought about that. And once I realized that, I stopped, not necessarily getting mad at what I was making, but started looking for what you know made me creative, and like what was like my thing. And that's when I started making videos again. And not that those videos were amazing, but like it was it came natural, it came easy to me to continue to evolve it and continue to get better. Like, bro, if y'all seen some of my stuff prior to like I'd say like 2018, 2019, like stuff I've done, like shoot, I was in like high school still. you know you just like, I geek when I see it, but I never show no I never show nobody now. But when I was making it, bro, you couldn't tell me nothing, like, cause it'd be like the littlest thing, from like a small transition that I had just learned how to do that would set it off for me. So when you get those little moments of like inspiration, you try to hold on to it as long as possible. And once it's gone, it's gone. And then you got to start like, like work while you wait, in a sense, because like you're working, but while you're working, you're hoping to get that, you know, new sense of inspiration to move on to the next thing. So that's a little background to like kind of give y'all context of what I'm saying, and where it comes from, and like my thought process on it. So with that being said, like the art of YouTube, you know, now for me, it seems like in this era of YouTube is creativity through research. So when I say that, like everything now is kind of like carbon copy. Like there's like very few people that are true like originals. Like there's no like, everybody gets inspiration from something or somewhere, but a lot of channels like, you know, have found like literally to like from being a science like like going from it being like an art form to like a science. Like they have YouTube down to a science where it's almost if they're literally pushing a button, like, and they can tap into it. So it's literally um like the people that have that. Now I won't name any names just because like there's no point in that. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Like there's a lot of channels that do the exact same thing, but what makes them different is their personalities. So that's something that hasn't changed about YouTube. YouTube is still like, it's about you. So no matter if you're doing the exact same thing as another creator, you do it in your way, and people love the way that you do things. Not on, and then they also love this style of like making videos and stuff. Like that's what's really, you know, helping these creatives like really like blow up. And it's a talent to it because like not everybody can do that. Like not everybody, because if everybody can do it, shoot, I would be doing it. Like what I'm saying? Like, and not to say that I'm not doing that now just because I'm a smaller creator at this point in time. But I really just have really just started. Like I've had my moments where you know I'm starting to get the formula, or like I'm starting to put the pieces to the puzzle together. But it's not until now to where I can recognize, like I've always known what works on YouTube, but I know myself more, and I know like that wouldn't necessarily work for me. So up until like a year ago, basically, like I didn't know exactly the kind of YouTuber I was going to be, because for me it's never been just about being a YouTuber. It's about just YouTube is a platform at the end of the day. And if it was called TubeU, like what I'm saying, like wherever the platform is, it was never about that platform. It was about like the vision and the creativity that comes behind that. Like I look at the stuff that I do is as like a true art, because you literally from start to finish, it's like creating something from nothing. Now the way that I go about it, like, and you could say whatever you want to say by looking at my channel, but it comes from a different place than what you might gain from just viewing it. So that's really like where I guess like my breakthrough has been, as far as like a mentality standpoint, over the last few weeks. And that has bled into, I don't like that, bled into, that doesn't sound good, but it flowed into, that's a better word, it flowed into the development of these different shows. Like the Why I'm Geek show is like literally like the first, for me, it's not the first show I've ever done, but it's the first show where I recognize like what I'm trying to do, because I have multiple shows now that I look at them as shows, as different entities of the same thing. And when we do it, or whenever I do it, it's all gonna like make sense when it's like all said and done. Because right now we're still in the development stage of not only continue to get better as a creative, but like continue to not only just build a community, but having a clear message that gets portrayed, and just like developing something that's not only like that can really last forever and be applied to anything. That's my goal with not only this, but just growth in general. Like growth is the umbrella that everything is going to live under, and developing that is like what I'm obsessed with right now. That's why I'm geeked, because every day, like, it's the first thing I think of when I wake up, and it's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. And I don't really sleep. I mean, I sleep, but like I don't sleep right away. Like I'll say that. Now, like with this whole process, and like talking about inspirations and influences, another key portion of that is a good circle. So for me, I got like set people that I look to for guidance, and just like their opinion, because I respect their opinion, not only from a creative standpoint, just from just like being be able to tell me what's good and what's not. And um, like having a good circle will help you level up way faster. Um, but finding that is hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. Like, if you don't really have people that not only understand you, like, but also understand what you're trying to do, it's hard to find those people. But when you do find them, keep them close. Keep them close, man. And yeah, like that's another thing. So the next thing would be, I think it's important to have a journal so you can never forget anything. Like anytime I have like a moment of inspiration, whether it's something small to something big, like I always try to write it down or draw it out. So having a journal, like, and that's I give a shout out to my boy Q, man. He put me on to that like a couple of years ago, and it's changed like everything for me, because at first it was more of a productivity type journal, because I've had I've been a creative for a long time, like my whole life basically, and like I've had sketchbooks, but usually with those things, like it was like only when I knew I wanted to do something specific, I would use my sketchbook, and it was always like I'll try to have everything be perfect in that sketchbook. So anytime I messed up on something, I would want a new one. And but with the journal, like it's a different thing. Like journals is literally for you to write everything in, do whatever you need to do, and be able to look back at that thing and it not be like a super stressful thing. So I literally have like my list right now, like it's in my journal, and not only is like all my notes on this thing, but like ideas for so I just rebranded Not to Explain. So if you haven't seen that, that was like one of the first things I was showing on stream today. But I just uploaded the first version of that. I still learn things from that episode, and I'm going to apply it. But like the idea, what like came to me first, of like what I wanted to look like, and then I drew it out. And it doesn't look exactly like what I drew out, but it looks better now than what I have on this paper. But I have whole pages of that, like literally like let's see, like I have ideas for like a new logo for growth, like something I've been thinking about for a while, that I just kind of finalized. I won't show y'all that right now just because like it's still in the development stage of the whole rebrand. But to like the spoiler alert video that I did recently, like I have like the random sketchbook artwork of that, like what I'm saying, like right here, like and it's never like I can draw way better than this. I can draw way better than this, but that's part of like it was just like a quick thing because I didn't want to forget anything, because I have it in my head like on what I wanted already. I had the vision for it, and that's how I had to just get it on the paper, and that's what it's about sometimes. It's just getting it on the paper. Like I said in the previous episode, it's all about getting your reps too. You know what I'm saying? So nothing's gonna be perfect the first time you do it. It's the reps, like of doing it multiple times, is when you'll actually like see progress and see growth from it. And perfect example, something that literally happened like a couple of days ago, maybe it might have been this weekend, was Denzel Curry is dropping a deluxe of his last project with Kenny Beats, and I love like the way that he does all of his like videos, and I love the music too, obviously, but like everything creative that he has, like he's done, it's just super cool to me and super interesting, because like you can tell like anything that he does is like it's done for him. Like he doesn't do anything that's outside of himself, but you can see the growth from the videos prior to, you know, I obviously has a good team to get all of these shots, but like I just like love the creativity that comes from behind that, and things like that inspire me. Not only just for, you know, my videos, but just for life, like in general, because, you know, the things that I'm doing now is not necessarily what are not my ceiling. This is like literally like my start of like how cause I got things like things I want to do, like that are like, you know, way past like myself. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just like need the not necessarily time, but just I need to keep on doing what I'm doing so I can get to those things as well, and then do those so I can do whatever else I have in mind, or, you know, be able to at that point for it not to be about me but help facilitate for somebody else, because that's a whole different type of joy when you can help somebody else, like, you know. So that's what it's all about, man. Now that's like like I said before, like this whole time I'm starting this, that was like the first like major portion of like my two ideas for this, for, or like two things on my list for this pod. The next thing is like, okay, so we talked about YouTube, we talked about some music stuff, we talked about just like, you know, everything that we talked about so far. So the next thing, this might be my longest episode today. I'm not trying to make, you know, the pod super long, but, you know, I'm just like getting what I gotta get off, or getting it off, and then we gone like on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? There's not no time limit I'm trying to hit. I'm just trying to like hit everything that's on this list. So the next thing I want to talk about is WandaVision, bro, and I also want to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. I'll start with WandaVision just cause that's the first thing here. And it's something I've talked about on my channel previously. This show is crazy, bro. And I kind of want to talk about like what this show actually means for the overall like universe. And I'm sorry if this is like a whole like switch gears of what we doing, but I'm just super geeked about not only just the last episode, but what this show tells me, not only about the industry, but the direction of, you know, Marvel, of Disney, of all of these like, you know, huge entities. Like, we're getting from a space for me, like, because I've seen basically every little piece, like every MCU movie or show, anything Marvel, like, period, pretty much, like I've seen a lot of it. So I can make connections to, you know, a lot of things. And this is like the first time in my life where like I don't know what's going to happen. Like I have no prediction. And it's not like they're coming up with stuff new, but this is just like outside of my knowledge, like as far as like, you know, this is like the really, really nerdy stuff, like, and I'll use nerdy in a good way, because they're now doing, like, they're not focusing on the heavy hitters. Like phase 4 and phase 5 are really going to tackle a lot of things that, you know, will bring this whole like universe full circle. Because for WandaVision, the last, I'm sorry if y'all haven't seen it either, the last episode, with Agnes becoming Agatha, being actually Agatha, it changes everything, bro. It changes how I look at everything. Because prior to this, I thought that Wanda was the one in control, or at least that she thinks she's the one in control, but I didn't think that it was going to be somebody that is still like on her level. I thought it was somebody that's like a higher, you know, entity that That's the second time I said that too. Entity that was like gonna really like open up, you know, not only just the realms but like uh like crossovers. Like that's where I thought it was going to go, and it still can, but it depends on how they explain, Quicksilver's appearance, because he was the X-Men Quicksilver, and I don't really know a lot about Agatha Harkness, like other than what they've said. I've seen pictures that I saw while I was looking things up from the comics, but like literally, like the whole like MCU world has just been opened with this one show. And I mean, this is happening in Mandalorian as well, like with what Disney's doing with Star Wars, how they're telling different stories within it. So I'm just super excited about it, because it's not just the story, bro. It's the direction. It's like, they're breaking the fourth wall. Like every rule that I've come to know from just watching. Like I don't have a rule book of what makes a good show or what makes a good movie, or I just have what, like, my own opinion. And they just keep like doing the unexpected, the unpredictable with every episode, and I love it, bro. I love it. And I don't have anything specific, like, to the episode, just because I already covered that in my video. And I actually did a post credit. I didn't even talk about it just in my video, and because it was only a couple seconds, where I think Quicksilver and Monica are about to fight at this point. Because Monica just got her powers. Like she just unlocked them. Basically, she doesn't have control of him yet, but he popped up again, and we gotta wait and see. We gotta wait and see next week. But it's just something that I've been thinking about for a while. Of like, okay, they got Spideyverse, they have the MCU, they have X-Men. Where is the crossover going to be? Because before, you had Fox and you had Disney. Now, even with this new Spider-Man movie that's about to come out, like it's supposed to be a Spideyverse movie where we get Toby, we get Tom, and we get the other dude. I forgot his name, but the Jamie Foxx Spider-Man. And I'm like, yo, if they really do this, like, we're entering a new era, bro, of just greatness, because I feel like this is like the era that we're in. We weren't like, comic book heavy, so a lot of stuff that people haven't, like, I haven't read the comic books, honestly, because I don't like to read, but it wasn't a thing like how it was back in the day, and I'm super interested in it, because it's like, it's just a new era, and I just recognize that, and it's just something that it's hard to explain, but that's why I'm geeked about that. Like that's why I'm super excited about it, and if y'all excited, let me know what you guys think of, like, what this show really means for the future of the whole thing. So, yeah, man. And then now we gotta talk about Jujutsu Kaisen, because why ain't nobody tell me that they kept uploading episodes like after New Year's? Like I thought the season was over with, and it was gonna start the new season with the sister school, competition. Nobody told me. I mean, somebody obviously told me. Like my man's told me, but it was real late, and I was like super behind. It was like a month. It's been like at least a month of episodes that I have missed. And I'm all caught up now, so where everything is okay, but watching it all like back to back to back to back, this show, I think it has a lot of potential, man. It has a lot of potential, because Um, the concept for it is very strong, and they're not afraid to reference like other shows, um, and kind of make fun of like the way that you know uh, other animes had like unwritten things that we as viewers would just pick up on and just like, okay, yeah, like obviously, like that's why, what I'm saying, like it's like unwritten rules that we all know, such as like the one of the biggest things that keeps getting brought up, is that before somebody attacks, whether it's the villain, antagonist, or the protagonist, they always explain their attack before they do it or while they're doing it, because like what is the reason for that? Maybe it makes them stronger because they're overconfident, even though the enemy now knows that what they're at least what they're going to do or try to do, you know. And they keep saying that, but in a way that uh, fits the show. Now, the animation and the colors and the art style of this show, it's it can be hit or miss. Now, that's because like it's a combination of multiple styles, and it looks way different than anything else you're gonna watch. Anything else, um, because at times I'll be feeling like I'm reading a manga. I'll be like, yo, this is what it would look like if it was in a drawing, um, for certain things, but you know those are like the little nuances that are applied to like or granted to the creator because they created it, like for me at least, because like a lot of people was having issues with Attack on Titans animation with the actual Titans because in some moments it looked kind of clunky and stuff like that. Those things for me never uh never really bothered me, because for me it's not about how good something like or how like I don't do a lot of comparing when it comes to anime. It's like I take that anime for it being that anime. Like that's the kind of like person I am, like anime watcher that I am. Like I don't get into like rankings and like stuff like that based on you know stupid stuff, not stupid stuff, but like minute things like, okay, like I didn't like the art style, like that art style was kind of whack, or man, the fights weren't that good, like what I'm saying, like those are all things that I will form an opinion on the show being, but it never you know goes to like it being applied to an argument for another show. Like I don't really argue shows a lot. um I just like taking it for what it is and it being that. And with Jujutsu Kaisen, it's like it's for me, it's never the actual like fight scenes that get me. It's like it's the talks before the fight scenes, or like um the monologues and like stuff that helps build the character. It's the character development that will make me fall in love with a show. um and for me, Jujutsu Kaisen is like entering like a new it's like a new era of like a new top three. I feel like, so I do list, but like not in like a negative way. And I really think that not only this show but Fire Force, um, and also I don't even know. I don't even know what the next one would be because I haven't finished Demon Slayer. Um, and like for Demon Slayer, it might take me a while to finish that just because like I don't know, it was something about it, I wasn't feeling it. It didn't keep my attention, but that was before. It might change now. I haven't gone back to it yet, but I still have to see like a lot of different shows that we'll cover and I'll bring up later on. But I don't know. This show to me is really good, and it's something I wanted to bring up on the pod just because I haven't talked about it in a while, and I'm going to make a video for it this week. So be on the lookout for that. You know, it's going to be more, you know, story specific. Not so much like nutshelling, just like my thoughts about the series as a whole. It's gonna be more concise. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else that I want to talk about. Yeah, I think that's it, man. So, I appreciate y'all for coming through, bro. This is the 4th week in a row. 4th week in a row. I don't know. I think this is the 4th episode. I might be wrong, but yeah, man. I'm super excited for everything, bro. I'm just geeked about everything. So, if you guys enjoyed the pod, if you enjoyed the stream, if you enjoyed the video, like all three, bro, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button on whatever platform that you're on. And yeah, man, y'all know the vibes. Always keep growing, keep going. This been your boy G. And peace.